Alright, I'm going to try to give a quick rundown of physical and chemical properties. Now, my tablet is not working the way I would like it to. I'm working on my classroom computer, so it's going to be a little sketchy. I'm going to try to write in script. and so it's been a while. So we're going to say physical properties. Properties. Alright, and don't show this to Ms. Anderson because then she's going to yell at me and give me some worksheets to work on my penmanship. So physical properties are the things that we can observe or things that are measurable. So in other words, if we can, let's get another color, just because I like to switch things up. All right, so things that we can observe, things that we can see, that we can smell, that we can hear, that we can touch, with anything that you can observe with your five senses, or something that we can actually measure. So some examples of these would be the color, maybe the shape. Maybe the texture, maybe even the odor. All right, those are all observable qualities that you can use with your senses. Other things that we can measure are a little bit more specific and more useful to us in science in a lot of ways. Things like density, that's a big one. Maybe boiling point, and along with that would be melting point and freezing point, things like that. Also, some of its qualities that if it's soluble, in other words, if it can dissolve in water or some other liquid, if it's ductile, and that means if you can take the material and stretch it and turn it into a wire, like copper has ductility. And then also there's another one called malleable. Let's see if I can spell it right. Malleable, I think. All right. Malleable meaning that it can be pounded into flat sheets, just like metal getting squeezed down into sheets of tinfoil, something like that. And there are a lot of physical properties, but the main thing to remember is that it is observable or measurable, and those things are specific to that material. So those are physical properties. Now let's talk about chemical properties. Chemical properties. Boy, it's been a long time since I wrote cursive. All right. Chemical properties are basically isolated into two different areas, and both of them have to do with its ability to change. To change into some other substance, okay? Not just like change shape or color or size or something like that, but to change into a different substance. And the two main categories are its flammability, and its reactivity. All right, so flammability, basically, if it's combustible, how easily it can combust and burn. How much heat, energy is required for it to burn. And then reactivity is how well the substance, or how easily the substance will react with another substance. And the one that I'm sure everyone is familiar with is baking soda and vinegar, right? So soda plus vinegar. All right, and so that's a classic chemical reaction where you combine the two and they react with one another, and then it produces another substance. It releases a gas and makes something completely different as a solid. And so that's an example of what we're talking about with reactivity: how well something reacts, how easily something can rust, things like that. So that's the basic rundown of basic information on the difference between chemical properties and physical properties. So chemical properties is its ability to change into something else, and the two main categories is flammability and reactivity, whether it can burn easily or how well it reacts with something else, and then it changes into a completely different substance. And then physical properties are kind of the extrinsic, the things we can see on the outside, and the things that we can measure on the outside. Its color, its shape, its odor, its density, boiling point, melting point, whether it can dissolve, whether you can reshape it into different forms. So physical properties different from chemical properties. I hope it's clear to you. Maybe on the next video when we talk about physical and chemical changes, it'll answer some of the questions that you might have right now.